Hey fellow world dwellers, it's Angry Turtle, and here we have Wastelanders update notes for April 14. And as normally I do not cover news, you'll probably see this type of video first time from me. And I'm not going to read through everything. What's the most important for me are the balance changes and bug fixes. And I want to focus on that in this video, and I'm sure that someone else will read it through everything for you, and if you need to read it now, I will put a link to this article in the video description as well. So you can see it says about new NPCs, new main quest, raiders, settlers, gold bullion, and faction reputation. That's important. The gold bullion is a new currency that is added, and faction reputation is something that we'll need to earn in order to unlock a lot of plans that then need to be bought with gold bullion. But more about that later. In another video, most likely I will focus more on bullion and reputation. Next, we have allies, that is sort of companions and quest givers. That's nice. We have new events and daily quests. That's very good. It's always welcome. New enemies like floaters, Wendigo Colossus that we already saw in a trailer, Blood Eagles, Cult of the Mothman, that is awesome addition to the game, a lot of new stuff. New locations that we heard about already. Art and graphics, and this is one important thing in here. Date, night cycle. The day will be night now 13 game hours. What's awesome, we'll have more daylight. I appreciate nice daylight. I welcome those changes, and there are some lightning improvements. That's really needed. The lightning was sometimes really buggy. I hope this will fix that. Vault 94 is getting closed, as it was announced before, but all the plans and all the stuff from Vault 94 will be now available to buy with gold bullion. Then we are safe. There are some improvements to Nuclear Winter. I don't really focus on Nuclear Winter too much. Now we have some quality of life improvements about quest and quest markers. That is always welcome. And now I don't know how important this is, that legendary enemy, when it will mutate and regenerate health, there will be a notification for that. I don't see how this is important. What I would like to see, it's like a quest marker or some other way to find a body, more than to see that he mutated, because he will probably be dead before he can mutate. There are some improvements with spawning inside a nuke zone. We'll see how this will work. Press and hold, that's really fine feature. We can now hold the button to instantly consume item instead of adding it to our inventory, or learn the recipe or plan. That's awesome. Instead of picking it up, opening inventory to then eat it, you can do it with one press of a button. That's great. There's some better description for public events. We do have radio host. That's awesome. We'll see how this will work. I think it will be great. Search perks now applies automatically. You don't need to press any button. That's a great improvement. It was just counterintuitive to press a button for the perk that's supposed to give you more stuff in a container. Now it just kicks in by itself. That's great. Now the important changes. Auto scrapping will no longer scrap accidentally our bloodfly glands, bloodbag probiotic, and more of this stuff. That's great. I welcome this improvement. I scrap so often the stuff that I actually need for crafting. There are some minor VATS improvements we'll test in practice soon. And now we have some changes to items. Auto Grenade Launcher Heavy Barrel mode no longer incorrectly states that it increases damage. I was actually thinking that the bug was that it doesn't increase when it's supposed to, but it happened it's the other way around, and it shouldn't increase damage. Then I don't know what this mod's supposed to be doing. We'll check it out when the game will be live. There is some buff to baseball grenades and some crafting changes, some bug fixes for bolt action weapons, getting stuck while aiming. There is some minor bug fixes related to challenges and chems, and we have Cultist Blade buff damage. I don't know how big, but it says that it will be stronger than Machete. What's logical now? I like it. This skill can be sold to vendors. There is slight change in crafting eyebot helmets. Fusion core bug causing a fusion core to be depleted while exiting a power armor was fixed. That's great to hear, that's always good. Another glitches with Gatling laser and Gatling weapons related to fusion cores and reloads. That's great. And here what everyone will be very disappointed. They did fix it. Handmade Rifle stinging magazine is no longer 35 and now it's correctly 25 rounds. And there is no more this crazy advantage for the Handmade Rifle with extra 10 rounds in stinging magazine. I'm curious if piercing magazine was fixed that loads only 10 instead of 20. Now the Harpoon Gun, it looks like explosive effect is now a legacy weapon. Explosive Harpoon Guns are now legacy. And this is a very welcome change. Solar and Thorn can now correctly spawn with unyielding legendary attribute. Everyone was waiting for that. This bug was here for so long. That's a welcome fix. 250 damage resistance while reloading was fixed. It will no longer break a prefix of the weapon. Next big change. Mid hook will no longer get any bonuses from one-handed melee pair cards. Now it's correctly a very bad weapon. You don't want it anymore. Molotov cocktail crafting recipe change. You will finally be able to craft those by just using glass rather than looking for the bottles. And that is a welcome change. A plasma grenade, this small improvement, the visual effect of explosion match the radius of actual explosion now. That's great. Psycho, that's the minor fix for challenges. Radix diluted, finally, information about its suppresses mutation was removed from the description because it does not suppress mutations. Salvage Assaultron Head. That's a welcome change because I have some great legendary Salvage Assaultron Heads, quad versions, and they were very bad because regardless of how many charges you put in, it was always the same very low damage. Now if you charge it more, it will actually do more damage. We can wear Scout Armor Mask with other types of headwear now. That's great. Shovel is now correctly two-handed weapon. Strangler Heart Power Armor causing crashes. It was fixed and rebalanced. We'll see how exactly it will work in practice. There is a link article that says about these balance changes, but there is no exact numbers and details that we'll need to figure out when game will be live. And in addition to that, you cannot drop Strangler Heart Power Armor frame anymore. No trading Strangler Heart Power Armors. That's a good addition. A bit late, but good. Tesla Rifle, it's now correctly categorized as energy weapon. That's great on the workbenches. It was under heavy guns if you didn't know that. The action hero can be painted now. That's great. Ultrasight fusion cores are now being used by power armor now. That's good. And ultrasight plasma cartridge, you get twice as many when you craft it. Small buff to carnivore, buff a little bit like bug fix, just pre-war food that's meat will actually benefit from carnivore. That's good. Her mentality bug related to sharing perks was fixed, but in the same time, if we scroll a little bit lower, for perk sharing, only base charisma is taken into consideration now. And that's a big one. Patches bounty can be used now on hermit crabs, that's good. Crackshot and long shot perks description were updated, and now it says apply while aiming down sights, and that's much better description because those perks were causing so much confusion. Lack of the draw, supposed to finally work correctly with automatic weapons. And here is again about perk sharing that I already said, only base charisma. We'll see in practice, but it will reduce perk sharing by a lot. Some improvement and bug fixes to the quest and miscellaneous quest, that's good. Some improvement to our compass and markers on the world, that's the one I really welcome. The number of caps earned now correctly appears on the screen after completing a quest or event. It was so often missing and you were not able to judge if the quest is worth doing for caps or not. Then we have some bug fixes for a Pip-Boy showing wrong stats and attributes for weapons and armors. And Revive. Revive was buffed. We finally can use our super stimpaks or diluted stimpaks, whatever we have to revive other players. And this is important for YouTubers like me, and volume slider for radio will actually affect jukebox audio as well. And another big one, for me, not for everyone. But for me, large friend lists have been optimized. Players should no longer experience in-game hitching as a result of having a very large friends list. Yay! No more removing your friends just because your game is lagging. Great, I can keep as many friends as I want now. That's a really big one for me. And another bug fix, if you make a mistake when you try to invite a new friend, it will not actually disable all your interactions with other players. Scrapping an item no longer causes the player's inventory list to resort. That's a big one. That was so annoying when you scrap something, everything shifted around, and then you scrap something that you didn't want to scrap because you wanted to scrap like 3 items really fast, and they resorted and you scrap a wrong one. That's a big one. I really like this one. Vending and trade. You can now trade with other players for up to 30,000 caps, which means it's our current limit how many caps we can have. It was changed from 25k caps. It's a minor change, but welcome as well. And one bug fix related to workbenches. If you press buttons too fast, you will not exit and re-enter workbench anymore. And that's what I wanted to say about this patch notes. I know that others will give you a deeper dive into quest, story, and news-related parts. I wanted to focus on balance changes and some important bug fixes. And of course, the full article will be linked in the description on this video, then feel free to check it out.